was DUBOIS robbed from this fight with Alexander Usyk? Should we be saying Daniel DUBOIS is the new unified heavyweight champion, and now he is in line to fight Tyson Fury for the undisputed title instead of Alexander Usyk? Or was the low blow actually a low blow? Well, let's get that answer out the way right now. Afterwards, we'll break down the fight in and of itself. That punch was absolutely legal. It was on the belt line, regardless of how you viewed his trunks were at. The punch was clean because even if it was on the, even if it was borderline, it was well and securely on the middle symbol of Usyk's belt line. That was a legal punch, and Usyk crumbled to the ground, and that should have been a knockdown. And it might have actively been a knockout if Usyk wasn't able to get up. Because when I tell you, Usyk looked hurt. Usyk looked hurt. I mean, this man crumpled to the ground like a sack of potatoes immediately. That's not a punch that you would see from a. That's not a reaction, excuse me, that you would see from a low blow. Oh no. Oh, no. That is the punch where you got everything taken out of you because you got landed clean on the biggest weakness that you have as a boxer. Now, again, Usyk's a phenomenal boxer. We already know that he is one of the best pound for pound in the world. And in my opinion, the most technically a gifted boxer that the heavyweight division has to offer, and he's a better boxer than Tyson Fury in my opinion. And we've already been over this. Tyson Fury is a good boxer with great size and insanely great size that we don't see to that level of combination. Good technical boxing with phenomenal size at heavyweight and also great light feet at that size as well. Boom, that makes for a nearly or seemingly unbeatable prospect. However, going up against a great boxer that's also just as fast, if not faster, than you, hey, it's a legitimate who's who in a pick'em fight of who you think is going to win. But all of that being said, Usyk's talent is not in question after this fight, but strictly dealing with the punch in and of itself. That was on the belt line. That was right in the legal zone. Mind you, the referee did not in any circumstance before the fight or during the fight, or rather before they went to their corners to start the fight, initiate where or where not can be punched on each boxer's shorts, which is something that normally happens. I believe Joe Tessitore pointed that out, and ESPN went back to the records in terms of going through backstage footage as well as in-ring footage of what the referee was saying, and the ref didn't say it in any way, shape, or form at any point in time during the night where the punches can and cannot land based on the heights of the shorts. And if that's the case, universally it's recognized that what is legal, if nothing is said, it is whatever the belt line is, that is where the punch can land. Below the belt line is no, but on or above is absolutely clean, absolutely legal, and you got to be able to protect yourself up until that point. If you go below that belt, it's a low blow, can be a warning, then a point deduction, then a disqualification outright. That's what the normal rule of boxing is when it comes to what is and isn't legal. And DUBOIS landed on Usyk a clean, powerful, sharp, strong, I believe it was a right hand, belt line, right on the emblem in the middle of Usyk's shorts, in the middle of the belt line, right, clean, clear as day. And I thought initially, oh, that could have been low, but that's because the angle that it was shown at first in terms of live looked like it was low. But no, on the replay, that was as clean as can be. And it was the biggest capitalization on Usyk's biggest weakness, which is with all of the technical aspects and the boxing ability and the speed and the angles and the quickness and the combination punching and the deceptive power that he has to him. I'm not saying he's a knockout artist, but he's a cat that can actually lay heavy leather when the time is right, especially when he throws all those combinations at one point in time, hiding his power shots on top of the fact that, again, now as a heavyweight, and he's filled out the division after being a cruiserweight and being undisputed at cruiserweight for a number of years. Now he is acclimated and now has gained a newfound level of power with the added weight to him. With all of that being said, and we know how good Usyk is, it is still Usyk got caught clean, and the ref gave him favoritism. Now, why was it that the ref gave him favoritism and did not call it a knockdown? Why didn't the ref start counting, and why wasn't there a potential that Usyk was going to get counted out and lose this fight when that punch did land? Because Usyk was hurt so badly, gasping for air, looking around. I mean, that wasn't the reaction of somebody that got hit below the belt. That's the reaction of somebody that got caught clean in the midsection and wasn't prepared for it and got all the wind knocked out of him and his legs taken away from him. That was the reaction that Usyk had, from my estimation. Because we've seen low blows happen before. Look at Riddick Bowe versus Andrew Golota. That is a low blow. If any fight tape was supposed to be studied to show what actively is or is not a low blow, that is a fight that should have been a low blow. But Usyk got caught clean as a whistle. That should have been a knockdown and potentially a KO by Usyk, because how hurt he was. I don't negate the championship heart that he has, but I do question how badly his body was actively hurt, and whether, even if his will wanted him to get up, would his body have allowed for him to get up at the count of 10, and would he have even survived the end of that round if he indeed did get counted as a knockdown, and he indeed did get up, with how much time was left in the round and with how much he was running around the ring after that quote-unquote low blow, which was actually legal, took place. I don't think he would have survived the round. I don't think he would have survived the round without that 5-minute rest. He wouldn't have survived the round, in my estimation. And Daniel Dubois would be the new unified heavyweight champion. But why is it that this happened? And most likely it's because of the fact, two things. One, this same ref has made mistakes before. Teddy Atlas posted this on his timeline, I think before the fight as well even started. He said that this referee had been in fights before where he had acted shady, acted nonsensical, and acted in a manner that was either favoritism or just holding up the fight entirely. He said he was not reffing up to the caliber that refs needs to be acting in when it came to these high caliber types of events. And said that could have been in question when it came to this fight as well. And it boded true. Notice that he was giving favoritism to Usyk as well when he was saying, hey, no, take your time. Even after Usyk was saying he was ready, essentially forcing Usyk to take the longer rest. Now, again, these types of claims I don't make lightly. But with that being said, this is a legitimate situation where, because he was fighting in Ukraine, because he was fighting in a hometown crowd, a war, Ukraine was fighting against Russia, working to get out of the heavy-handed regime that is Russia, who's trying to bear down on them, and I support them fully. And I'm glad that this was an opportunity for the people to come together and rally behind a fighter who has now been deemed as an icon and a symbol of hope and a beacon of light for the entire Ukrainian people. Phenomenal. We love that. I love that. Absolutely. But with that being said, all of that surrounding the immense gravity of this fight and what it means to the people and the amount of hometown love that he was getting and what this fight meant to Ukraine as a whole, along with Usyk being somebody that we've been talking about, him fighting Tyson Fury for however long at this point, not wanting to potentially break up a mega fight down the line, we could be seeing a situation where the championship advantage came to fruition in the most blatant way possible, with Usyk getting favorable treatment when he got hurt and when he got in trouble, when it was a shot that could have been deemed as low or borderline illegal, and when it came to immediate witnessing it live. Because of that, okay, we're going to give the champ the benefit of the doubt and say if it was low and he's saying it's low, it's most likely low. That could have been why the referee gave him that again, called it a low blow. And also why we saw him essentially encouraging Usyk to consistently take all the 5 minutes necessary when it comes to a low blow and illegal shot, because he was constantly going to the corner, even after Usyk was saying, I'm ready, let's go, I'm ready, to essentially push him back to the corner and say, no, take your time, go ahead, rest, Wait a while. Do what you gotta do. Get situated. All of that. The ref said all of that to Usyk in the ring and was hindering Dubois from coming forward even after Usyk again verbally said, I was ready. So there was championship advantage. There was championship favoritism involved. And all of that being the case, it caused Usyk to be able to get time to recover from the clean body shot and to adapt, survive, and then inevitably overcome later on in the fight. But that was indeed a low, not a low blow. That was indeed not a low blow, but that was indeed a clean shot by Dubois, and Dubois was dropped. And I feel bad for Dubois. Really, I feel bad for Dubois because Daniel Dubois, again, I didn't give him a shot to win this at all, even with the power and strength that he had, knowing that he was that he was majoritarily a power puncher that doesn't move his head, doesn't have great footwork, is bulky, can wane in the later rounds when it comes to stamina and fatigue, which is a common theme in the heavyweight division, as we talked about way back on this channel before in past episodes. But with that being the case, the problem is that even though the deck was stacked against him and nobody gave him a shot, he still came to fight and he landed the shot that he needed to land. And even though Usyk's far and away the better fighter, even though, and I'm gonna get into it later on in this fight, even though Usyk showed the championship heart and mentality that he is known for and that he is justifiably instilled in himself and that we as fans recognize, and one of the big reasons why he is indeed pound for pound one of the best in the entire world, despite all of that on Usyk's in Usyk's favor, still Daniel Dubois with his limited skill set, with his nowhere near as great boxing ability, turned this into a fight that he can actively win. Turned it into a brawl like I said he needed to turn it into in order for this fight to be successful, not try to outbox Usyk, but turn this into a legitimate fight. And landed the one shot that he needed to land. He landed the epitome of what boxing is all about. Not just two men or women, two people in general going at it with everything they got, but the fact that one punch, despite your skill set, can change the course of a fight or end the fight for anybody at any given point in time, because you land right, it will stop anybody in your way, regardless of who you are. Absolutely, that's the case. And it was never more present than in this moment, in this fight over the weekend, when Dubois landed a great hook to the body, right on the belt line, right on the emblem, right on the logo of Usyk's shorts, and caused Usyk to go down in crippling pain. And what could have been a 10 count, or at least a knockdown that would have forced Usyk to get up, if he was even able to get up, by the time the 10 count ended, and then would have gave him a prime opportunity to end the fight right then and there by relentlessly attacking the body for another minute and a half, which I believe was how long the round had left in it in round 5 when Dubois caught him. All of that was Dubois he cracked the uncrackable code in terms of how am I going to land the punch I need to land. He did it. He did it. And it got taken away from him. It unjustly got taken away from him. In a situation where he might not ever get back in this role again of being on, because we know how boxing is. Once you get 2 losses, it's very hard for you to get back to the top. Incredibly hard for you to get back to the top unless you beat out everybody in your way after that. And I mean, go on to essentially have another career, another resurgence of dominance across the board in whatever division that you're in. That's normally how this game works. And Dubois being able to, again, overcome the one loss to Joe Joyce, nearly being knocked out a second time and overcoming that, now earning a shot to be the mandatory for for Usyk, and then getting the shot and capitalizing and landing the punch he needed to land, and still it got taken away from him. That's horrible. That's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. There's no reason why this should be. No reason this should be at all. Blatant, bad refereeing, an incredibly egregious mistake, and what looks to be more so favoritism by the referee in not letting Dubois get the knockdown that he deserves, and as well as hindering him from going to the body by constantly calling everything that Dubois was landing to the body low, while not calling what Usyk was throwing to the body low. Even though both punches on both sides were on the level for about the entirety of the fight. Again, the only big low blow that I saw was, I think, was a straight that Dubois threw to the body that did actually catch Usyk low, but it didn't have nearly the effect that the actual clean body shot that Dubois landed on Usyk had. Nowhere close. Nowhere close. There's only one legitimate low blow that happened that was accidental. Outside of that, Dubois got negated from going to the body by the referee because he was scared he was going to get a point deduction if he kept going to it, because the ref was calling everything that he was throwing, even at the belt line, illegal. So it's a shame. It's a crying shame. It's a crying shame. We should be saying that we should potentially be saying that we have a new unified heavyweight champion.